Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Mike.
And I'm Tiffany.
And here we are at the beginning of another new year. And the beginning of a new year means a lot of things. It means spring is coming. It means red envelopes are right around the corner or just left you. But it also means it's award season in Hollywood or in the entertainment business, really, because not all of the awards are in Hollywood. But if you're a fan of movies, you know about the Oscar Awards. If you like American television, the Emmy Awards. And of course, in the U.S. for music, it's the well-known Grammy Awards. Now, these are very popular and very long-lived award shows, right? A lot of them have been around for 50, 80 years.
Right.
Do you watch award shows?
I do, but right now, not so much anymore because I feel like they're not getting as good as it was before. So sometimes my interest is...
It does seem that Hollywood makes safer movies. And all too often you can pick the person who's going to win just because their movies made the most money. But there are occasional surprises every once in a while, right? We get hit with some surprises. But for an actor, singer, performer, winning an award is a big deal. But today... we have an article about an award that actors would not want to win. They would, in fact, probably never pick up this award. They would never go to the show, and they certainly wouldn't put this on their resume, on their record of great acting performances. So we're going to read an article about the movie award you don't want to win.
Reading. The movie award you don't want to win. Every actor and actress in Hollywood wants to win an Academy Award. These prizes, also called the Oscars, are given to the best movies and movie stars of the year. What about those movies that are just terrible, though? For these turkeys, there's the Golden Raspberry Awards, or Razzies. The first ever Razzie Award ceremony was held in 1981 in the living room of John J.B. Wilson. He and his friend Mo Murphy invited friends over and announced the worst films and acting performances of the year. Everyone had so much fun that they repeated the event, which soon started getting mentioned in the media. Wilson realized that the occasion would get more attention if the Razzies were held the night before the Oscars. Now, the Razzies ceremony takes place in large theaters, in front of hundreds of fans and reporters. Razzie winners are chosen by popular vote. Movie fans, journalists, and movie professionals from around the world can vote simply by buying a membership from the Razzie website.
Our article starts off with, every actor and actress in Hollywood wants to win an Academy Award. Okay, so the Academy Award is also known as the Oscars. We see our vocabulary word here, award, A-W-A-R-D. It's a noun and it means a prize or a reward given to someone for being excellent or doing something that is admired. For example, I won an award for being the Employee of the Month.
That's very good. I congratulate you. What did you win?
I just won a free meal.
A free meal? That's
Which is not
much
so
of an
bad.
award, but it might be better than the awards we're going to be reading about here. It says these prizes, also called the Oscars, that's the Academy Awards or the Oscars, are given to the best movies and movie stars of the year, right? It's like a golden little man. It's a trophy, and actors, actresses, directors, anyone who makes movies really can win an Oscar for their different categories. And yeah, for many actors, It's one of the greatest achievements of their working professional life. So it's a big deal.
Right. Like Leo, he finally got his
That's
Oscar.
right, for being eaten by a bear or something. Yeah, there you
go. Finally, he really...
Was that his first one?
I think so.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
If you're selected to maybe win one, we say you're nominated. That's Nominated. Nominated. But if you win it, that's even more. They usually nominate like 5 or 6 actors or actresses, but then one of them will win it. So he was nominated many times, but only one last year for The Revenant. I still haven't seen that.
I haven't watched that yet.
No. Anyways.
It's okay. All right, so next the article says, what about those movies that are just terrible, though?
Right.
Yeah, sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, it's not so good.
This is the worst movie ever.
Wasting my time.
Is this guy acting or trying to make me laugh?
So the article says for these turkeys, there's the Golden Raspberry Awards, or Razzies. Okay, let's take a short break and let's learn about what our shortcut for you word turkey means here.
Shortcut for you.
Ooh, it's too cold to go out today. Let's watch a DVD.
Sure, what about the Batman vs. Superman film?
What? No way! That was a real turkey.
I don't get it. I said Superman, not Turkey Man.
We often use the word turkey to describe a movie or a play that is very unsuccessful.
Ah, I see. Turkey means 电影或戏剧的失败之作. But why?
It probably comes from the season in which many new plays were released, which was between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
2 holidays when people eat turkey.
Right? But many plays were rushed so they would open in time, and they were bad, so they became known as turkeys. The tradition continued with movies.
Ah, thanks for the knowledge. So, we'll watch Batman vs. Superman?
So a turkey is basically something that failed, that really didn't work out very well. It was supposed to be good, but it really, really wasn't. It was quite terrible. Anyways, the first ever Razzie Awards ceremony was held in 1981 in the living room of John J.B. Wilson. So it wasn't held in a theater or a big hall with TV cameras and all the famous people. It was held in a man's living room back in 1981. A ceremony is basically a special event with certain kinds of performances or certain kind of rituals. We often think of a wedding as a ceremony. A wedding ceremony is when 2 people get married, everyone dresses up, you eat special food, maybe someone will say some important words and things like that. So we have award ceremonies, wedding ceremonies, funeral ceremonies if someone dies, that type of thing. They're common events in culture.
Right. So next in the article it says, he and his friend Mo Murphy
Mo Murphy and John Wilson. Okay, I should remember those names. Yeah,
yeah, so Mo Murphy invited friends over and announced the worst films and acting performances of the year. I can totally imagine these guys just chilling in their living room.
Yep.
And then they're just like, okay, let's do like a fun award ceremony. And
it's also funny that they thought anyone would care what they thought.
Yeah.
The bad movies were, but then turns out many years later, people care.
People really do care.
That's funny.
I think that's pretty funny. So, so what they would do is they would just basically hang out and then they would announce the worst film. So when you announce something, A-N-N-O-U-N-C-E, it means to make a formal or public statement, to just basically tell people that you're doing something or this is happening or you believe blah, 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 blah. Okay, for example, we can say everyone was surprised when Donald Trump announced he'll run for president for the USA. Okay, so that means that he publicly said that he's going to run for presidency. So everyone was very shocked when
we were.
That.
We still are in some cases.
Definitely.
All right, back to the article. It says, everyone had so much fun that they repeated the event. So after they did this ceremony for the first time, it was really popular. Everyone had so much fun. So they repeated the event. That basically means they did it again the next year. So just as the Oscars were happening for great movies, they again did their ceremony for bad movies. And it started to get noticed, it said, which soon started getting mentioned in the media. Okay, when we mention something, that basically means we talk about it. Maybe we don't talk about it for a very long time. Maybe it's not the most important thing we're talking about, but we bring it up. We bring it to attention or we mention it. For example, my friend mentioned that he would be on holiday all next week. So he didn't talk much about the holiday. He just said, hey, I'll be on holiday next week.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
So chill. All right, so next the article says, Wilson realized that the occasion would get more attention if the Razzies were held the night before the Oscars. So once they started to realize that, more people are paying attention to their at-home ceremony.
That's right.
They decided that maybe if they do it before the night of the Oscars, that more people would even recognize this event.
Because everyone's thinking about movies at that time of year.
Yep. So when you realize something, it means that you become fully aware or that you are you totally understand it. So they finally understood that, hey, our award show is actually very popular, and then maybe if we just change the date, more people will tune in or they will watch us.
That's right. And they wanted to have people pay more attention to this special occasion. An occasion is basically a special event, a special activity, something like that. Often it's an organized thing. We can often think of important days of your life, maybe like a big party, an awards ceremony, your wedding, something like that, are occasions. Often for an occasion, there'll be a big fancy dinner. You might wear special fancy clothes. Ladies would wear long gowns and men maybe a tuxedo or something like that. For example, we could say Phyllis's wedding was a beautiful and romantic occasion. I'm sure it was very, very lovely with flowers and music and great food and dancing. All that kind of stuff makes for a special event or a special occasion. So what about the Razzies now? How has it changed over the years?
It says now the Razzie ceremony takes place in large theaters in front of hundreds of fans and reporters. So we can see that it went from the living room to now taking place in theaters. So when something takes place, it just means it happens, or to have something occur, to have something happen. So now it went from maybe just 5 guys hanging out in the living room to an event where hundreds of people attend.
Yeah, it does, I think, get a lot of attention. And how do they pick the winners? Well, it says Razzie winners are chosen by popular vote. So that's a little bit different than the Oscars, where it's just sort of movie business people, movie experts and actors who pick the Oscar winners. The Razzie winners you can pick. I'm sure they have an online poll of some kind now. So people from all around the world, all of us movie fans and others can pick. That's a good idea.
And I think it's actually quite fun, too. You get people involved.
Yeah.
And it's not like a very prestigious thing.
Exactly.
Where only the Hollywood business people can take part. But you can be a part of it.
And for the organizers, it's good, too, because if people don't like who won this year or who lost this year, I guess you could say, they can't argue about it. Because they'd say, well, everyone voted. It wasn't us. We didn't pick it. It was everyone out in the world who picked this movie. Don't argue with us.
Right. So next, the article says movie fans, journalists, and movie professionals from around the world can vote simply by buying a membership from the Razzie website. Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you want to be a part of this, you want to be a part of the Razzie event, you can actually just buy membership from them. I'm not too sure how much it costs, but probably not so much.
I can't imagine it's very much.
Yeah, but I think this is enough to help fund maybe
Sure.
renting the theaters or just basic things, making the awards. But yeah, you can become a member and vote. even movie professionals can be a part of this. So when you're a professional, it's spelled professional. It means that you're engaged in, you have like a special skill, or you're good at doing something, and this becomes a paid job for you. So this is something you're very, very, very good at doing, and you're getting paid to do it as a job. For example, we can say, please don't try these stunts at home. They are performed by trained professionals.
Good advice. So yes, as we mentioned, people like us, movie fans, movie professionals, people in the movie business, or journalists. These would be movie or entertainment journalists. A journalist is basically the same as a news reporter. They're the kind of person who goes out, witnesses the news, and then writes the story so that we at home can read about it on the internet or in our local newspaper or something like that. Journalists generally do writing. Generally, they would work for newspapers or magazines or something like that. But you can also have a TV journalist or a TV reporter. They just report the news on television. But basically, if your job is telling everyone in the world about the important events of today, then you are a journalist. All right, that brings us to the end of day 1. In day 2, we're going to have even more about the Razzie Awards, including some of the big stars who have actually gone to get their Actors Award for being terrible. But before then, we have our chat question, and that's coming up in a second.
For You Chat.
All right, so since we're talking about bad movies, let's talk about bad movies. What is one of the worst films you've ever seen, and why? Why was it so bad? Ooh, that's a good question.
There's a million films that I've seen, because I like watching movies. So sometimes you will have a hit or miss with movies, but there's one that I was severely disappointed with.
Really? That's the worst. What was it? Tell us all.
For me, it was Magic Mike.
Magic Mike. Channing Tatum taking his clothes off to music.
Dancing. And I thought
How can that be bad?
The only good part was the dancing.
Oh, okay.
But like if you want to look at...
He is quite a good dancer, right?
Yeah, I think he actually started out as like a dancer.
There you go. Okay, so the dancing was okay. His muscles were okay.
His muscles were very good.
All right.
But the story was extremely bad. The storyline was horrible.
Interesting. A lot of movies about dancing can be pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Some of those step-up movies, great dancing.
But the
not
storyline
a great movie. Yeah. Okay.
Just fast forward to to the dancing part.
That's good advice, probably. Yeah. I'd have to say, I don't know which one it was. The Transformers movies, some of those were really, really bad.
Yeah.
They just didn't make sense. You didn't know what are they doing and who's the bad guy and why are they chasing this thing.
Yeah.
That was bad. But for me, I think, and this movie made me angry, Pearl Harbor. Remember that war movie with Ben Affleck? It made me angry because Pearl Harbor was a real historical event. And it was very exciting. I read a book about it. But then they made the movie and they invented all of these characters and made a big love story. And Ben Affleck went out and won World War II all by himself. You know, it just seemed silly and it seemed to me a waste because here was this great, important, very exciting world event, Pearl Harbor, the real story, and they just threw it away to make kind of a bad Hollywood love story. But anyways, see, I get angry about
Hollywood.
Pearl Harbor. That is Hollywood for you. Sometimes they get everything right and they make fantastic movies, but occasionally, yes, a real stinker, a real terrible movie comes through, and that's why we need the Razzie Awards to keep people honest. Well, we'll be back, as we said, in day 2 with some of the actors who've won Razzies and some of their interesting reactions to winning an award for being really awful. We'll see you back here for that.
The movie award you don't want to win. Every actor and actress in Hollywood wants to win an Academy Award. These prizes, also called the Oscars, are given to the best movies and movie stars of the year. What about those movies that are just terrible, though? For these turkeys, there's the Golden Raspberry Awards, or Razzies. The first ever Razzie Awards ceremony was held in 1981 in the living room of John J.B. Wilson. He and his friend Mo Murphy invited friends over and announced the worst films and acting performances of the year. Everyone had so much fun that they repeated the event, which soon started getting mentioned in the media. Wilson realized that the occasion would get more attention if the Razzies were held the night before the Oscars. Now, the Razzies ceremony takes place in large theaters, in front of hundreds of fans and reporters. Razzie winners are chosen by popular vote. Movie fans, journalists, and movie professionals from around the world can vote simply by buying a membership from the Razzie website.
Vocabulary Review.
Award. The student was given a special award by her school for her excellent grades. Announce. The boss just announced that everyone would get a day off on Monday for a national holiday. Mention. The actress mentioned a number of close friends and family members in her speech. Realize. It was only when Blake started studying Chinese that he realized how difficult it was. Occasion. Mark and Catherine's wedding was a joyful occasion. Everyone who went had a really great time. Professional. You can't fix the sink by yourself. Why don't you call a professional?